All right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to today's Monday midday meditation. Here we are again, another Monday on the books, in the books, whatever the expression is. We're in it. Here we are. And from wherever you're joining me today, whether it's live, whether it's in the recording, I am so grateful that you are here and happy to see you. Welcome. And so we'll get started as we always do by finding a comfortable seat. I want you to settle in, really get comfortable on that structure, whatever it happens to be that's supporting you, and find yourself being supported. Just let your body just ease into it, relax into it. Allow yourself to feel that support. And if you haven't already yet, and if it's safe for you to do so, go ahead and close your eyes. And then let's take a few nice full breaths. Big inhale through the nose, big exhale, maybe through the mouth or through the nose as you prefer. All right. And as we settle in here, I invite you to really just connect with that sensation of you being supported by that which is supporting you, the chair, the cushion, the your couch. The chair might be your dining room chair, your office chair, or your living room chair, or a big comfy chair. Maybe you're sitting in your bed. Even if you're driving, just allowing yourself the little moments to really feel that which is supporting you. And that way we can allow the body just to settle in it. Every time we make those little connections, we kind of break that a cycle or that momentum of whatever it was that we were doing or thinking about before, and we bring instead our thinking to this present moment and all of those connections, all of that support. So just settle in. You can keep the eyes closed for as long as it's comfortable for you to do so, if you're not driving. And you can continue to be aware and enjoy that feeling of the breath filling you and relaxing you and re-energizing you as you take nice big full inhales, nice long slow exhales. And I'll invite you into today's contemplation, and a little reminder that anything that I share, anything that I talk about in this contemplation, now is not the time to kind of grasp on too tightly to it, um, mm, to make meaning of it, even to come up with counter arguments or even strong agreements. This is just an opportunity to let the words that I share meet you in a place where you are relaxed. And then whatever you take in, you take in. And if it's something that you want to come back to, you can come back to it. As always, the recording will be available for you, and you can come back to it time and time again as you wish. So for now, the most important thing is you being supported and sharing in this break. And as I thought about today, and what I wanted to share today, one of the things that I have been feeling, certainly through my open window and looking out into nature, but also in the media, on social media, kind of everywhere you look. At this time of year, there is this transition. And in particular, this transition is from summer into fall. And this particular transition, maybe more so than the other kind of transition from one season to the next, this one always feels to me like a light switch. It was one thing and now it's something else. And there are a lot of reasons for that this time of year. One is the return to school for children. So for them, it is absolutely a switch on into fall. They stopped doing what they were doing before, and now they're back into routine or whatever it is that school means for them. And for parents or people supporting children, often it feels the same way. And then, of course, we see the return of things like um, fall sweaters, sweater weather, pumpkin spice lattes. I was in HomeSense the other day and it is full on fall. Now, don't get me wrong, I love fall. I love the season. I love the things about the season, but it was all pumpkin that smelled like, fall candles. There were red leaves and all of the the decorating and the seasonal dinnerware and all of that stuff. It was all fall and I do love it and it is beautiful. And I enjoy that myself. But it is like a switch being flicked on from one season to the next. And so it made me think about, on August 31st, or even, the last day of Labor Day weekend, right, was still summer. It was still summer. And then that first Tuesday back, or September 1st or September 2nd, or whatever that day is for you, it's like that's when the switch flicked, right? That's when it turned over. And so one day, here I am, Summer Kim, and the next day, Fall Kim. Do you feel that too? One day it's still summer, the next day it's fall, and you've got to make that transition. And it's not always a gentle transition. It is like a light switch. And you can put aside your feelings about how much you love it or don't love it, and that is all okay. But kind of leading into um, where I'm going with this today, the story around fall and being one person one day and another person the next day reminds me of then how much our lifestyle and our habits and the things that we do can also transition just as quickly. And again, aligning it to the season, there may be a version of you in the summer version of you that is a little bit more relaxed. There's less routine. Maybe you are outside for longer hours. Maybe your days are longer, more activities. And then in the fall, those things shift. You might be getting more sleep because it's darker earlier. You might be back to routine. And so things feel, for some people, that's a breath of fresh air. And for others, it is a stress. But there are all these ways, right, that including the change of the seasons, our habits, our routines, the momentum moves quickly from one thing to the next. And then we have these, almost like these different versions of ourselves, depending on these circumstances. And that can affect everything from how we sleep, how well we're sleeping. It can affect our routines, how much we're working versus how much we're not working or in leisure. It can affect how we feel about certain things, a little lightness that maybe some people feel during the summer. In the fall, we're kind of back to the constricted schedule or the full schedule. It can affect, and it does affect our eating. In the summer, there are, this abundance of light, fresh fruits and vegetables. In the fall, we move into the heavier, warming, still like fresh fruits and vegetables. As we transition, they get a little bit more sparse, but there is definitely a difference. And then certainly the things that we do from a wellness perspective or a well-being perspective can shift from one season to the next. In the summer, you might be more inclined to participate in outdoor activities, lots of walking and hiking, swimming, running, tennis, all of the golf, all of the outdoor things. And many of those things can continue into the fall. But in the fall, you might feel like you're going back into, gyms or yoga studios, or your wellness routine or your fitness routine may shift and change. With the darkness, maybe, and the dark happening earlier, you might not, you might find that you're not out as long into the evening as you were before, and so it might feel harder to get out after work than it did previously. All of these things, and it's like one day it's one thing, and the next day it's something else. And maybe that feels like you. Maybe you resonate a little bit with what I'm sharing here. And going a little bit deeper than that, this also creates different ways that um, we act and react based on the seasonal changes or based on these light switch moments. And there, you can probably think of lots of those light switch moments in your life. The season just being the one that we are in the midst of right now. But it got me thinking about when I talk about stress, and in particular, a stress stack. There are times in the year where our stress stack builds and accumulates differently than others. So in the summer, if you have a summer like mine that is, a little more easygoing, a little more relaxed, the stress stack may feel like it's manageable. A little bit of the routine or the things that happen during the, other 9 months of the year seem to kind of break free a little bit in the summer months. And that might mean that come fall or come September, when all of that starts back up again, the stress stack once again starts to build, starts to expand. It becomes harder or more challenging to kind of keep that stress stack at a level where you are uh, trans transforming it or breaking it or maintaining it or managing it. So one day it's one thing, and the next day almost like something else. Do you feel that? So once again, this is an idea or a concept that you can, excuse me, uh, notice perhaps how what I'm saying is resonating with you or not. Not something that you need to think too deeply on or analyze at this moment. As I said, I don't want you to feel too kind of attached to the words at this time. I want you to feel it from the state of ease, the words just kind of wash over you. But if you do notice that it's something that, made a connection or landed for you in a certain way, you can come back to this video and do a little bit of deeper dive on this idea of there being two versions or multiple versions of you, or how quickly you move from one version to the next. It's my light switch motion there with my thumb. And so one of the ways that you can contemplate that, or a nice way to kind of understand if that is affecting you or how that might be affecting you, is to do a little self-analysis or a little review. And I've got just the tool for that, which I'm going to share in the notes below this video. But if you haven't done it yet, it's a great time to just go through that stress score and assessment tool that I have created. And again, you'll find the link to it below the video here, but you'll also find it on my website under free resources. And it's a great little self-assessment. And you are, like I said, welcome to come back to it again and again and again, because there are moments in the year where we have these light switch moments. You may, as you kind of contemplate this, recognize different points in time where you do move from one version of you to the next, and maybe what that means. And so by taking a look at the stress score tool and the assessment that goes along with it, you might start to notice then places where you are noticing or the impacts of that additional kind of stress accumulation through your stress stack is affecting you. And that can change over time as well. So I invite you to grab that free resource and give yourself a little assessment just to see where you're at. And I would love to hear from you what you notice. You can pop a comment in the link in the comment section below. No matter where you're watching, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, there's always a comment section, and I'd love to hear from you. And you're welcome to direct message me if you'd rather it be a little bit more private. So two versions of you, or multiple versions of you. This is simply a consideration. And self-awareness and noticing allows for this deeper connection with ourselves, and in particular, allows you to connect more deeply into the voice within you and the intuition within you that allows for resolution and healing. And this is why we come back to these breaks in our routine. For example, the Monday midday meditation again and again and again, because as we break that momentum, as we do something differently, as we settle in and close our eyes and come back into the present moment, we awaken the powers within us to discern. And through those powerful tools within you will arise your best next step. And with some additional tools of support, you can take those next steps and proactively break the cycle of stress within yourself. That is what I love to share. That is what I love to help people with. This is my passion. And so before we leave today's Monday midday meditation, I will remind you that you can sit here in this quiet stillness where the breath and where the connection to the present moment will help you restore, revitalize, and refresh. Thank you for joining me. And until next week or next time, have a wonderful, beautiful day. Namaste.